House of Rest. Shalom, shalom, family. This is Wesley Smith coming to you out of House of Rest, where we're in a good season and time to be alive. And we welcome you to day 50. Yes, day 50. We have made it to that point, and Tameka dropped my seat down. All right, to day 50 here, and we're talking about the covenant, which we know what a covenant is. Let's jump on it real quick. Covenant, alliance of marriage or a friendship, a pledge between Yah and man, a divine ordinance with signs or pledges. And remember, it's a divine ordinance with signs or pledges. So I wanna touch on something a little bit here and a little bit, but according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a written agreement or promise, usually under seal between two or more parties, especially for the performance of some action. And then something that I'm recognizing, throughout scripture, which I never really paid attention to that before, is wherever there's a covenant, there's an oath that is made, because the oath pertains to a witness being there, right? A witness of something between Yah and man, or Yah, Yah being the witness between the covenant that's being made, or the pact that's being made. Have you ever heard that pact? So we make covenants with Yah, but have you ever heard when people talk about selling their soul to Hasatan, they talk about making a pact with him? And so this is something that is highly regarded in the esoteric and those communities where they do dark magics and light magic and any type of magic that they pretty much can do, which is warlocks and all those different of such. And they make pacts with demons, and these pacts are usually done through the sealing of some type of sacrifice of an animal, or I hate to say it, or even a child, or different things like that. And the oath may be, the drinking of blood, or it may be, having to do something, to prove themselves. You just never know with these cases. But anyways, when we are making our pacts and our covenants with Yah, well, it's always going to be some type of agreement, to the point where it's showing that you are willing and ready to walk in agreement, right? Because how can two walk together unless they be agreed? And so we're walking in agreement, and we're joining ourselves together as one. And it's kind of like a marriage, right? The two come together and they join as one. And so we keep that in mind when we understand the mindset of the covenant, right? Because you what's the sign between a man and a woman being married? Well, in our culture, we pass off a ring, and then we say our vows, right? So there go the covenant plus the oath. So I always never really thought about that, because I always thought an oath and a covenant was the same thing. But the covenant is basically the alliance of the two, but the oath is that witness to point out that, hey, this is done, right? Remember when we talked about Jacob and Laban? Well, that heap was the witness between them, that if you pass this heap, then and if I pass this heap, then there's gonna be a problem. But seeing that, but now they also said that Yahuwah will be a witness between them. So, and I always wondered why Yahusha said, swear neither by heaven, neither by earth. Well, now that makes a whole lot of sense, because when you're swearing, you're making an oath. And I don't know. I've been trying to look that up, where when people, use derogatory language and languages that, the F-bomb, the S word, the D word, curse words, what they call curse words, are they words that curse us because we're, or is that what Yahusha meant when he said, when people curse you, bless them, right? And so it really, because an oath can also refer to being a curse, right? Execration, the act of cursing or denouncing an object of curses, something to test it, an oath, and any profane expression, curse, swear word. So that's pretty interesting. Now, as we go into the study today, I was looking at how Yah told him that he said, this day, those of you that stand before me, right? And that word stand is the same thing as the word that we were talking about Monday, where it was talking about being established. It's more of speaking on them enduring, right? He that endures unto the end. And so as we do these studies, I recognize a lot of the things that Yahusha was teaching us in Matthew 24, Matthew 25, Mark 13, Luke 21, telling us that we must be able to endure unto the end, that we would go through trials, that we would go through tribulation, that we will be tested, that we should rejoice as we go through these things, and why we should be able to carry ourselves in a certain manner. Even when life seems like it's hard, we're still supposed to be the ones on top, or live as if we're the ones on top, right? Because we are the ones on top, not as if, but that live like we are the ones on top, regardless of what the enemy is trying to bring, or what the enemy is trying to say, or what the enemy is trying to do. We have to remain, right? We have to remain before Yah guiltless. We have to remain before Yah guiltless, meaning that if we are instructed to do something, we do it as we are told, because we have joined with him in a covenant. And so if we join with him in that covenant, we follow 100% what he's telling us to do. And I just find it very, 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 very important of understanding the importance of a covenant, right? And let's look at our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and all this different type of stuff that they brought forth in America. Well, those things were supposed to be certain types of covenants that was made between the people and the government. Well, we see that the government, right, is not holding out their end of the alliance. They're not doing what they said do. Now, one thing that I recognize, one thing that they mess up in, is they teach us certain things in school, and they think once we get older that all that stuff is dumped away. But what was the purpose for them dumping all the tea in the Boston Harbor? It's because they wanted representation without taxation. I think I'm saying that right. But they were, they were being taxed heavily by England. And so they had an issue with that. But now the same things that they were fighting for, right? They 400 years later, here we are, right? And so when people, right, don't keep a covenant and they break the alliance, there's repercussions that come behind it. There are not only natural implications, but there are spiritual implications that comes from that. And we've been seeing that they've been processing and trying to steadily break the agreement that was made those 100 years ago, however long it was ago, when they wrote the Constitution, when they did the Bill of Rights, when any of our rights for freedom that we had, whatever they could do to change it. Because I mean, think about it, America was really created so that it could become this new world order. But Yah, right? Yah has different plans for America, just like he had plans for Yasharel. Now it's the people that changes and thinks that they oh, we're gonna make this come to pass. We're gonna make that come to pass. I'm sorry. We excuse me, we only play a part, a little minor part, and what the bigger plan is that Yah has. And so he has made a covenant that he won't destroy the earth anymore, right? He won't destroy the earth anymore, any flesh, through water, as one large collective. But there is a day of wrath coming. And so before I go into the study, I would like to just throw it out there. If you have not given your life to the Most High Yahushua Mashiach, give your life to him today, because we are living in times like no other. If you come across this video a year from now, if it's still up, I admonish you, I beseech you to give your life to him. In other words, I urge you to humble yourself, give your life to the King, and allow yourself to become a living sacrifice, that you may be able to walk worthy before him in the day of judgment, that you may hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." All right. So enough of that. Let's jump into scripture. Because I really, really want to get into what we were talking about with, we were at verse 14, I think. Yep. Look, guys, it said, "Neither you only do I cut this covenant and this oath," right? So remember, neither with you only do I cut this covenant and this oath, but with him that stands here with us this day before Yahuwah Elohenu, and also with him that is not here with us this day, right? So he said that I'm cutting it with those that stands here this day, and also for those afar off, in other words. So with us as well, that covenant is being made, that if we choose Yahuwah to be our Elohim, he will, we serve him wholeheartedly, and we follow his Torah, his statutes, and his ways. He will be our heir, and he will fight for us. He will take care of us. He will do right all that's in the Torah that he said that he will do. He will do all that is all throughout the scripture that he promised that he would do for us. That's his oath to us. Our oath to him is to be obedient. Our allegiance to him is to walk upright, to live righteously, to be lights and examples to those that don't know him. So when they do come across you and they wonder why, oh man, every time I see him, people always attacking him, but he don't allow his anger to overtake him. In other words, you're not allowing your flesh to overtake you. And that's when you get the, if I was you, I would do this. And if I was you, I would do that. And that's when we have to know to be subjective to the spirit and listening to what spirit is in action. What spirit is in action? Because there's always a entity or a spirit trying to come up and suggest things to you or influence you to walk in the flesh versus walking in the spirit. But Yah said, listen, back here, let's look. Let's go back. All right, let's go back a little bit. Where is it at? Right here, verse 4. Yet Yahuwah has not given you a heart to perceive and eyes to see and ears to hear unto this day. Now, remember when we was talking about this, what the leb, the house of authority, the voice of reason, right, is where the heart is. And so is either going to be joy, love, peace, and all the good things coming out of it, or it's going to either be filthiness and nasty things coming out. But here, with eyes to see, right, to understand, so to perceive, to know, to have knowledge, to receive the word and take it in and hold it there to you. Eyes to see, right, to understand, to know, to be able to, and to ears to hear, to have that faith come by hearing by the word of Yah, to shama, right, to obey, ears to hear. So that's when you get Yahusha saying, those that have ears to hear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying unto the church, or unto your leb, your heart. So that Remember when Yahusha said, these people worship me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. See, their hearts was not able to perceive, their eyes were not able to see, and their ears were not able to hear. But brothers and sisters, he made a covenant with us that we may be able to know him, right? Know him on a personal level, to be able to understand his word, even though sometimes we might read something and it might not have a full, clear understanding. We had a brother on one Marco Polo groups come and say, hey man, listen, I be teaching this stuff, but this is certain thing that I don't understand this. And that to me, that's humbleness, when you could come and ask other brothers, even though you're a teacher, with something stump you, because we all don't have the answers, and y'all may give one brother one answer and may give another brother another answer, and it may all line up together, right? But look at here. So he gave us in this covenant and this oath, he gave us eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to perceive. Okay, so he said he don't only make this covenant this day with the brothers and sisters that were standing there, but I make it also with those that are far off. Now, it don't say that, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but also with him that is not here with us this day. Who else would he have been talking about? He's talking about each and every one of us that would come down the bloodline later on, each and every one of us that would come and may not, that may be a stranger or a sojourner. Right? Each and every one of us, guess what, guys? That shall call upon the name of Yahuwah, Yahusha, and be baptized in his name and declare themselves unto him. That's who he's talking about. So look at verse 16. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by, and ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Now, I kind of want to focus on verse 15. But with him that stands here with us this day before Yahuwah Eloheinu, and also with him that is not here with us this day. Now, guys, you want to know somebody that was not there with them that day? Rahab. But watch this, guys. Joshua chapter 2. Joshua chapter 2. Let's read a little bit of that. So Joshua, I'm just gonna read it. I think it's like 24 verses. So, and Yahusha the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into a harlot's house named Rahab, right? Rahab, which, guess what her name mean, God? It mean proud, and lodged there. And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Yasharel to search out the country. And the king of Jericho sent unto Rahab, saying, bring forth the men that are come to you, which are entered into your house, for they have come to search out all the country. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, there came men unto me, but I knew not whence they were. And it came to pass about the time of shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out, whither the men went, I know not. Pursue after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house, and hid them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to the Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that Yahuwah has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us. And all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. Now, guys, she is recognizing the power of their Elohim, of El Shaddai, right? So verse 10, for we have heard how Yahuwah dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Mitzrayim, and what you did unto the kings of the Amorite, and that were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we have heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you, for Yahuwah Elohim, he is Elohim in heaven above and in earth beneath. So she's recognizing She's recognizing all these guys that we're serving here in Jericho. They don't hold a candle to this Elohim that y'all serve, and that's who I want to serve. I want to serve him, right? Look what he said. Now, therefore, I pray you swear. Here we go. Here we go. Swear. So let's look at that word, because I know. So now I pray, therefore, you swear. Swear. So that Shavah, that's the word for oath. Shabbat. To take an oath. So in other words, now it's not the same as that word that we're covering, but it ties in with it, right? And you're gonna also see a word that bind, which means join together. So what do we do in a covenant? Well, we join together. We make a pledge, in other words. So right here, she's making an oath with them, or she wants them to make an oath with her, right? Okay, so she said, now therefore I pray you swear unto me by Yahuwah, since I have showed you kindness, that ye will also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true sign, right? A true sign. So when we look at that, think about it, brothers and sisters. What was Yahuwah doing? Because right here it says a true token. And remember what we talked about, a oath, a signal, or in other words, proof. Give me proof, right? And that you will save alive my father and my mother and my brethren and my sisters and all they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the men answer her, our life for yours. If ye utter not this our business, and it will be when Yahuwah has given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. And she said unto them, get you to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you, and hide yourselves there 3 days until the pursuers be returned. Afterward may ye go your way. And the men said unto her, we will be blameless of this oath, this your oath, which you have made us swear, right? So we will be blameless of this oath. Let's go. So that word is Shavuah, right? Saying that we will be innocent of this oath if you don't keep it. So blameless, naki, clean, free from, innocent, right? So innocent of this oath. If so, look what it says. And the men said unto her, we will be blameless of this your oath, which you have made us swear. Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line. So let's look at that word bind, right? That word is kashar, to bind, to tie, bind together. But look what it also means, guys. It means to be in league together, right? To be in league together. So in other words, to join together, right? Look right here, join together. So this right here signifies, it signifies the covenant between, and the oath between Rahab. So they made an oath, and then they made a covenant, right? Because now he's saying, behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window. What does that remind you of? It reminds you of the Passover, right? The Avar. We will cross over when we come into the land. We will pass over this house. That's what he's saying. The line of the scarlet thread, because remember they put the blood over the doorpost, right? So he's basically reenacting that. When we come into this land, you shall bind this line of scarlet thread in the window, which you did let us down by, and you shall bring your father and your mother and your brother and all your father's household home unto you. And it shall be that whosoever shall go out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood, now this is on you now, his blood shall be upon the head, and we will be guiltless. And whosoever shall be with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head. If any hand be upon him, and if you utter our business, then we will be free of your oath, which you have made us to swear. So if you don't keep your end of the bargain, we're free of it, right? And she said, according unto your words, so be it. So y'all know what so be it means. I mean, right? So according to your word, so be it. And she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet line in the window. She bound the scarlet line in the window. And they went and came unto the mountain and abode there 3 days until the pursuers were returned. The pursuers sought them throughout all the way, but found them not. So the 2 men returned and descended from the mountain and passed over, right? Avar, they passed over and came to Yahusha, the son of Nun, and told him all things that befell them. And because of her report, they realized, oh, we can take this city, right? Because Yahuwah has and they said unto Yahusha, truly Yahuwah has delivered into our hands all the land, for even all the inhabitants of the country do faint because of us. So look at that. Now watch this. And when you go to Joshua chapter 6, right? Joshua chapter 6, verse 17. Watch what it says. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to Yahuwah. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in this house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. Right? She hid the messengers that we sent. So she kept her end of the oath and the covenant, right? And y'all might not have seen it that way, but when I saw that where it said bind the scarlet, the scarlet cord, I was just like, wow, it's kind of like they're making a covenant right there, And then later on, right, one of those guys end up, because I'm pretty sure that just like Caleb and Joshua, he sent people from 2 spies, which remember, because the 12 went and they can't 12 went and 10 came back with a bad report. So I guess Joshua said, you know what, let me learn from mistakes before. I'll just send 2, one out of Ephraim and one out of Yehuda. And so that one of those guys end up marrying or becoming joined to Rahab, and this is where it continued the Messiah's bloodline. So now let's look. But with him stands here with us this day before Yahuwah Eloheinu, also with him that is not here with us this day. So let's look at verse 15. Let's look at verse 15. Let me see if I can get back to it real quick. But I thought that was very interesting when it comes to Rahab, right? So verse 15, but with him that standeth, right? With him that standeth, Ahmad, right? To remain, to endure, to take one stand. So what is it saying? In other words, with him that endured with us this day, and to those that will endure with us later on, those that come along and endure or are appointed, right? So look at that. Ordained. Ain't that awesome? That Yahuwah in his words, as he makes the covenant, he gives us key words that stands out to us. It says, but with him that stands, right? But with him that Ahmad, with him that endures, with him that remains, with him that is ordained, with him that is appointed, with him that is established. Look at that, brothers and sisters. With us this day before Yahuwah Eloheinu, and also with him that is not here with us this day. Ain't that awesome? That he had already went ahead, right? And had this set out where generations on down the line, that's how he could tell you the end from the beginning. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So let's look. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by, and ye have seen their abominations at their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them, lest there should be among you you man or woman or family or tribe who heart turns away this day from Yahuwah Eloheinu to go and serve, right? To go and serve the Elohai of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood. All right, let's go and let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, right? Lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe. So it doesn't just stop at a man or family. It also says a tribe whose heart turn away. Whose heart turn away. Remember, Labav. So this one is saying, now this one is Lamed Bet, right? And so in other words, it's in other words, if your emotions and passions and your thinking and reflection and your memory goes, where's that? Oh yeah, and turns away, right? So if your pana is to turn like away from Yah and go after other Elohim, right? Turn away this day from Yahuwah, our Elohim, to go and serve. Look at that word, serve. Abad, to serve, to labor, to work, to do work. And remember what he said in the when he was doing the curses, right? He said that you would go and you would serve other Elohim, works of men's hand that you know not of, but you will serve them. And think about it like this, guys. We do it on a daily, and not saying that we do it purposely, but the places where we work, the things that we do, where these people sacrifice and do different things to these other Elohim, right? So to compel to labor work or cause labor or cause to serve. So I keep jumping back there. So it's saying, turn away this day from Yahuwah to go and serve the Elohim of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that bear, right? And that word root, sharesh. And what does Yahusha say? He's the root, right? He's the vine. Bottom, deep, heel, root. In other words, now if you look at it, and he's saying, if there's any of you that uproot this day, and why do I keep going back there? Sharash is the root word etymology to Sharesh. So he's saying, if any of you have a root of that bear, gall, what is gall? Roche, I'm sorry, Roche, gall, venom, bitter, poisonous. In other words, envy, lust, the works of the flesh. Because what happens, let's look at it from a spiritual point of view. What happens when you get one person that's bitter, one person that is causing, any kind of confusion or distraction? Well, it begins to pass on to others, right? And remember what they gave to Yahusha. They gave him vinegar, which was gall, something that is bitter and disgusting. So we're not to be like that, because bitterness, well, guess what? It brings it just, that's what grief is, bitterness. Or wormwood, la ana, right? Which is, watch this, from an unused root supposed to mean to curse, right? Wormwood regarded as poisonous and therefore accursed. And what did we just read in Joshua chapter 6, verse 15, which I think this is an awesome metaphor, is because Yahusha said, and everything in that city would be accursed except Rahab and her household. And this is the awesome thing. So look at when Rahab was making this binding agreement, she was not the voice of authority, right? Her father, this was her father's household. So technically, he should have been the one making the pact and the agreement. But due to the love for her father, her mother, and her brethren, the Israelites agreed and they saved her because she didn't have bitterness in her heart against Yahuwah, right? And that's the thing. When we begin to be a bitterness and we begin to blame him and we begin to say, oh, it's his fault because I'm going through this, or I have heard people say that it's Yahuwah's fault that babies are being killed, it's Yahuwah's fault that that all these storms and different things are happening all throughout the earth. They blame Yahuwah for a lot because they don't recognize and understand the power of Yahuwah, that he is allowing certain things to happen because everyone must be tested, everyone must be tried. And remember, he destroyed it because of we about to go to the imagination of man's hearts, right? So gall and wormwood, basically bitterness and poisonous, right? So being accursed, right? And it came and it okay. And it come to pass when he hear the words of this curse, boom. So now we see that a curse is coming for the breaking of the covenant, breaking of the oath, and not only that, disobedience. So, and it come to pass when he hears, when he shama, right, the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart. Oh my goodness, people does this, right? People do this. He bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart to add drunkenness to thirst. Brothers and sisters, I'm gonna stop right here because this is a topic that needs to be addressed. You have so many leaders, pastors, preachers, teachers that are doing this. They are saying in their heart through their own imagination that I have peace, I'm blessed. And they're teaching their flocks wrong. They're teaching their flocks that it is okay to still live in sin. They're giving 20-minute messages that only defiles the mind, and it doesn't even convict the heart. And yet they think that it's okay to still do their normal, regular activities in life, being part of the world, but as long as I go to church on Sunday, hear a little ramby-pamby message, I'm saved. I questioned myself for a long time on what is it to truly be saved? What is salvation? And the deeper and the more I thought about it, the more I recognized that I was not living a life according to his word. And that was a transformation to me. Things begin to transform, things begin to change because my way of thinking, my way of seeing, my way of my way of knowing, having a heart to perceive, my way of understanding, have eyes to see, and my way of hearing or obeying was totally different than what I was being taught in the church. And there's so many people walk around and the imagination of their own heart to add drunkenness to thirst. Guys, we would definitely come back on this topic. I thought it was awesome how we tied Rahab and the binding agreement and the oath with this study. So guys, a covenant, we have to understand the importance of the covenant that he has made through sending Yahushua Mashiach. through sending Yahushua Mashiach. And I truly thank each and every one of y'all for joining up. And I pray that this is a blessing to you, and that as you go through these studies, that if there's anything that I may be, erring in, because I don't have it all myself, but anything that you recognize that we could bring to bring it to my attention. I try to go back and I try to look at the comments and the after the videos and during the videos. And sometimes God just miss certain things, and I see that there's questions down there sometimes. So I try to make sure that I get to those questions if I can. But guys, I truly thank y'all for joining up. I love you. Yahuwah loves you. Don't forget to say thank you, Yahusha. We'll be talking to you tomorrow on day 51. Love you guys. Later. House of Rest.